Most people think success is just about luck, talent, or sheer willpower. But success is not an accident and it is not random. Success has a biology. It is written into the circuits of your brain, sculpted by the chemicals that drive your motivation, and forged in the neural pathways you reinforce every single day. Success is not a product of chance, nor is it something bestowed only upon a chosen few. It is a reality written into the very architecture of the human brain. From the moment of creation, our minds were designed with circuits capable of pursuing, sustaining, and achieving greatness, yet many drift through life believing success is a mystery reserved for others. The truth is far deeper and far more powerful. Success is etched into the wiring of your nervous system, and whether you experience it or not depends on whether you choose to activate and direct those God-given circuits. Within the brain, there are systems that govern desire, drive, and the ability to persevere when obstacles rise like towering walls before you. These systems are not passive, they are responsive, and they awaken in the presence of vision, intention, and disciplined pursuit. When you look at the reward and motivation circuits in the brain, you realize they are not there simply to make you feel good when you've achieved something. They exist to propel you forward long before the outcome arrives. The design itself shows us that success is not about luck, but about tapping into the momentum of the brain's natural drive toward progress. Think of it, your brain does not just reward the destination, it rewards the journey. It gives you the fuel to press on, even when the finish line feels far away. And herein lies the power. The circuits of success were created to keep you moving, even through hardship, even through opposition, even through days when your strength feels gone. But these circuits are not activated by passivity. They are not stirred by laziness or a life of distraction. They demand engagement. The brain is like fertile soil, but only seeds of discipline, sacrifice, and vision can grow into the harvest of greatness. If you fill your life with idleness and excuses, you will not see the fruits of success because the soil will be overtaken with weeds. Yet, if you consistently choose action, if you plant seeds of persistence and water them with faith and resilience, your brain begins to build pathways that make success not only possible but inevitable. The more you walk down the road of effort, the clearer and more permanent that road becomes in your mind. Science calls it plasticity, the ability of the brain to rewire itself based on what you repeatedly do. Spirit calls it transformation, the renewing of the mind that allows you to walk in strength and victory. When these two truths meet, you understand that your daily actions are not small, they are eternal investments into the very structure of your destiny. Each choice, each discipline, each moment of saying yes to growth and no to compromise is carving success into your mind and spirit. This is not random. This is by design. Greatness is never achieved in isolation. It is forged in the furnace of struggle, discomfort, and deliberate resistance. The brain, by its very design, grows stronger under challenge. Just as a muscle only develops when it is pressed beyond its limits, the neural circuits of perseverance and resilience only awaken when you place yourself in the path of pressure. Too many people pray for an easy life, free from hardship and trial, yet the Creator built your mind in such a way that true growth is only born in the face of difficulty. Every time you choose the hard path over the easy one, you are literally shaping your brain to endure, to stretch, to rise. Within the human mind lies a system that responds to adversity with adaptation. Scientists call it stress inoculation, exposure to manageable levels of stress that, over time, builds your ability to confront greater trials without breaking. Spiritually, it is refinement, the process through which God allows the fire of challenge to strip away weakness and uncover strength. If you run from resistance, you silence the very circuits meant to carry you into greatness. If you embrace it, you unlock reservoirs of courage and power you never knew you had. Think about this truth. Every time you endure discomfort, your brain registers that you survived. And in that survival, new pathways form, telling your body and spirit you are stronger than you thought, capable of more than you imagined. These pathways multiply with repetition until what once felt unbearable becomes familiar and what once seemed impossible becomes your new normal. The world teaches avoidance, distraction, and comfort at all costs, but destiny demands endurance, attention, and courage in the midst of fire. Even your body responds to this alignment. Neurochemicals like dopamine and adrenaline, designed to propel you forward, are released not just in triumph but in the midst of battle. The reward does not come only when you conquer the mountain, but also in each step you take upward against the pull of gravity. The very structure of your brain rewards persistence, not idleness. This reveals the truth written into creation. Victory is not given to the faint-hearted. It is granted to those who will not turn back when resistance rises. And yet there is something even greater here. The refining of the mind under pressure does not merely build strength for you. It prepares you to carry the weight of responsibility that comes with success. If greatness were handed to a fragile mind, it would collapse under the burden. But when greatness is bestowed upon a mind that has been trained, tested, and proven in the fire, That person does not crumble. They stand, they lead, they inspire. Your mind is constantly scanning the world, looking for signals of meaning, for markers that tell it where to invest energy and where to conserve it. This is where vision and clarity become vital, because without a clear and compelling target, your brain drifts, wastes energy, and becomes entangled in distractions that drain your focus and dilute your strength. The Creator did not design your mind to flourish in confusion, but to lock onto purpose like an arrow to its mark. When you lack direction, your neural circuits default to survival, clinging to what is safe, comfortable, and immediate. But when you set before your mind a vision larger than yourself, one that aligns with truth and destiny, the brain begins to reorganize itself around that pursuit. This is the remarkable principle of neuroplasticity, the ability of your brain to wire itself according to what you consistently attend to. If your daily focus is on trivial things, your brain becomes expert at triviality. If your attention is consumed by fear, worry, or pleasure seeking, your brain etches those patterns deep, making them the default path. But if you set your gaze on purpose, on higher calling, on service and excellence, then every thought, every decision, every action begins to carve highways in your mind that make greatness not just possible, but natural. What you repeatedly dwell on is what you become. The battlefield is not external, it is internal, fought in the silent moments when your mind wanders and when your heart chooses what to dwell upon. If you feed your brain chaos, it will reflect chaos. If you feed it order, discipline, and vision, it will reflect strength, clarity, and resilience. This is not merely psychology, it is spiritual law. It is written into the very architecture of your being. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That truth reverberates not only through scripture, but through the wiring of your neurons. Dopamine, the brain's fuel for motivation, is not released only at achievement. It is released in anticipation of a worthy pursuit. That means your vision, your clearly defined target, can ignite your drive before you even touch the reward. A man or woman with a vision can walk through storms, endure deserts, and climb mountains others flee from, because their brain is already experiencing the joy of the destination in every step of the journey. Without vision, you are at the mercy of every distraction. With vision, you become unstoppable because your mind is feeding you power, energy, and resilience in the present moment. But vision is not just about personal gain. A vision centered only on self eventually collapses into emptiness. True vision must stretch beyond you. It must connect to a purpose that transcends your comfort and security. When your brain locks onto something eternal, something that serves others and glorifies the one who gave you life, the circuits of your mind and the fire of your spirit align in perfect harmony. You stop asking, "Can I endure this?" and instead declare, "I must," because the vision demands it. That is when ordinary people step into extraordinary greatness, not by chance, but by design, because they chose to fix their focus on what matters most. Every battle for greatness begins in the smallest of choices, the ones that seem insignificant, but over time shape the destiny of your life. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about alignment, about bringing your daily actions under the authority of a higher vision. The human brain is not built to thrive in chaos. It seeks rhythm. It thrives in structure, and it grows strongest when patterns of discipline guide it toward excellence. When you surrender to impulses and allow comfort to dictate your choices, the neural pathways of your mind begin to erode your potential. But when you commit to discipline, whether in how you think, how you work, or how you treat your body, your brain responds by reinforcing those pathways, making them stronger, faster, and easier to repeat. Think of your mind as a field. Every thought, every decision is a seed. Discipline is the hand that ensures only the right seeds are planted, watered, and cultivated. Without it, weeds of distraction and indulgence overtake the soil. With it, the field becomes fertile, producing fruit that multiplies over time. This is not simply a metaphor. Neuroscientific studies show that when you choose structure over chaos, the prefrontal cortex, the seat of decision-making, grows stronger, enabling you to resist temptation and focus your energy where it matters most. The more you practice, the more automatic it becomes, until discipline no longer feels like a burden but like freedom itself. For what is freedom if not mastery over self? A man or woman enslaved to impulse is not free. They are chained to their own desires. But the disciplined one, who can deny the fleeting in pursuit of the eternal, walks in true liberty. The Apostle Paul declared that he disciplined his body and made it his servant so that he would not be disqualified from the greater prize. This truth reverberates across both faith and science. Without discipline, greatness decays. With discipline, destiny is preserved. Even your emotions, often thought to be uncontrollable, respond to discipline. When you train your mind to focus on gratitude instead of complaint, courage instead of fear, resilience instead of despair, the chemistry of your brain shifts. Serotonin and dopamine align with your choices, reinforcing the patterns you decide to strengthen. It is not that temptation disappears or struggle fades, but that discipline trains your neural circuits to respond with strength rather than surrender. This is why those who commit to daily habits of prayer, meditation, focused work, and bodily care walk with a power that others cannot comprehend. Their brains and spirits have been forged in the furnace of discipline. But discipline is not only about personal strength, it is about preparation. Each small act of discipline is a rehearsal for greater challenges ahead. When the storms of life come, those without discipline crumble, but those who have trained their minds and bodies stand firm, immovable, unshaken. Their roots are deep, their foundation strong, because they have chosen daily to master themselves. And in mastering themselves, they become vessels through which divine strength flows, proving to the world that true greatness is not given, it is cultivated. True success is never born in isolation, and greatness is never the product of one person's effort alone. The human brain, though extraordinary in its individual capacity, is designed to thrive in the context of connection, mentorship, and shared vision. When you attempt to walk the path of destiny alone, you cut yourself off from the very resources that could multiply your growth. Even the most powerful minds in history sought counsel, drew strength from community, and allowed themselves to be sharpened by the wisdom of others. Iron sharpens iron, and in the same way, the thoughts, insights, and discipline of others sharpen your own. The very structure of the brain reveals this truth. Mirror neurons fire when we watch someone else succeed, learn, or overcome. These cells create an internal model that allows us to grow not just through our own experiences, but through the experiences of others. This means every time you surround yourself with disciplined, visionary people, your brain is literally rewired to reflect their habits, their resilience, and their drive. Conversely, when you keep company with those who are careless, distracted, and enslaved to mediocrity, your brain absorbs and mirrors those patterns too. The company you keep does not just influence your future, it shapes the biology of your brain itself. This is why accountability is so powerful. Left to yourself, you may give in to weakness, delay the hard work, or justify mediocrity. But when you are held accountable by others who see the greatness in you and refuse to let you settle, something shifts. You rise higher, you resist compromise, you push through resistance because you know you are not running this race for yourself alone. You are part of a larger body, a community bound by purpose, a fellowship where each member carries the other forward. Even in the realm of faith, no one was ever meant to journey alone. Moses had Aaron, David had Jonathan, Paul had Timothy, and Christ himself chose 12 to walk beside him. These relationships were not incidental, they were essential. They became the structure through which vision was sustained, courage was reinforced, and truth was protected. Your brain, like your spirit, is strengthened when it walks in partnership. When you open yourself to guidance, correction, and encouragement, you magnify your capacity for success far beyond what you could ever achieve in isolation. But this partnership must be chosen with discernment. Not every voice deserves access to your mind. Not every influence deserves a place in your spirit. You must guard your inner circle as you would guard the gates of a city, allowing only those who lift you higher, who align with truth, and who call you to a standard greater than your own comfort. For just as good company builds, bad company corrupts, and the wrong voices can dismantle what God is building in you. This is not merely social wisdom, it is neurobiological reality. The people you allow into your life are literally shaping the neural pathways of your future. Therefore, to pursue greatness, you must walk with those who carry greatness. To pursue holiness, you must walk with those who live in holiness. To pursue strength, you must walk with the strong. In doing so, you multiply your own potential, not by borrowing their destiny, but by allowing their influence to awaken the deepest capacities within you, forging your brain and spirit into instruments of victory. Greatness is not sustained by a single burst of inspiration or a fleeting moment of discipline. It is sustained by the unwavering practice of consistency. The human brain is built on repetition, and repetition forms the very pathways that guide thought, action, and destiny. Each time you repeat a behavior, your neurons fire together, binding closer, building stronger, until what was once difficult becomes automatic, and what was once a struggle becomes your nature. This is why those who rise to the highest levels of success are not those who work the hardest for a day, but those who work faithfully day after day, when no one is watching, when applause is absent, and when the temptation to quit is strongest. Consistency is a spiritual principle as much as it is a neurological one. Just as the Israelites were called to gather manna each day, trusting in God's provision moment by moment, so too are we called to walk in daily obedience, cultivating faithfulness in the smallest acts. It is in the secret place of unseen discipline that public greatness is born. If you sow faithfulness in prayer, you reap strength in trials. If you sow diligence in study, you reap wisdom in decisions. If you sow perseverance in small habits, you reap the endurance to finish the race. What seems insignificant today is, in truth, the foundation of tomorrow's breakthrough. The danger comes when we despise consistency, when we look for shortcuts or quick results, forgetting that the brain does not bend to momentary intensity, but to steady repetition. Many begin with zeal, moved by emotion or inspired by vision, but when the fire of feeling fades, they falter. Yet, those who remain steadfast, who return to the same path again and again, build something far greater than momentary passion. They build resilience, a neurological and spiritual armor that no storm can dismantle. The enemy of your soul knows the power of consistency, which is why his attacks are subtle and repetitive. He does not usually destroy with a single blow, but with small, Daily compromises that erode your discipline and weaken your resolve. Skip one prayer, neglect one habit, justify one compromise, and soon the pattern of faithfulness is broken. But the same principle works for victory. One choice of discipline, repeated daily, builds a fortress in your mind that no temptation can tear down. Even the brain itself testifies to this truth. The process of neuroplasticity reveals that every repeated action strengthens the connections between neurons, carving highways of behavior that determine your future. What you repeat becomes who you are. And so, to become great, you must not only act greatly once, you must act greatly again and again until greatness is etched into the very wiring of your being. Those who achieve lasting impact understand that consistency is not glamorous, but it is glorious, rising each day to practice what others abandoned, to remain faithful when others grew weary, to endure when others gave up. In time, consistency transforms effort into excellence, discipline into destiny, and faithfulness into fruit that cannot be denied. For the one who is faithful in little will be entrusted with much, and the one who builds daily, brick by brick, will one day stand upon a fortress that no storm of life can shake.